Hello and welcome to another week of Mermay. I was so stressed out this week. This week really threw me for a loop. Usually when I've done Inktober in the past, day 15 has sort of been the breaking point for me. And it's usually just that I'm envisioning this idea and I can't really get it on paper. But for day 15, this time it worked out. I really wish I had more time to spend on it because I think this idea is really cool and it just needs a little bit more adjustments and fine-tuning, and I think it would be even better, but I'm quite happy with it. So we have here the prompt was horror, and we have here a zombie mermaid who's eating dead sailors from a shipwreck. So yeah, that's terrifying. And for day 16, this was such a stressful day. The prompt was celebrity. And I was traveling from Oslo to Fredrikstad by train, and I got home super late at 9 o'clock in the evening, and I realized I've forgotten my iPad. And tomorrow is the national day, Norway's national day. We're gonna have guests early in the morning at 8:30 and celebrate, and it's gonna be a wild day, and I've forgotten my iPad in Oslo. So I was like, what do I do now? I have to download a special program to record my computer, and because I didn't have that installed, and I had to do the illustration in Photoshop, and to be honest, I haven't made any illustrations in Photoshop for a few months. So I was like, oh gosh, yeah, because I've been using my iPad and it's so convenient because you can bring it everywhere. But yeah, I finally ended up drawing the Beatles in their lovely Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band outfits that I think are just so cool, and they just look amazing as mermen. The costumes really, in my mind I was like, oh, they're gonna look great as mermen with these costumes. I think it's because it kind of reminds me of like coral reef or like tropical fish colors. But yeah, I was so stressed out, and I'm so happy with how the drawing turned out. So actually not too bad. And then of course the 17th of May was our national day. Super fun day. We had a great time, but I was also so tired, so we did a very, very simple drawing today. It was in my sketchbook, and then I just colored it in Photoshop the next day. And for day 18, we had deep sea as our prompt, and I had already done a deep sea fish for the prompt villain, and so I didn't want to do like another deep sea fish. But what I was really fascinated by, and I love documentaries about true crime or real events and stuff like that, so I was really inspired by the deep sea divers from the North Sea, or they were called the pioneer divers, and especially in 1978 they had a very deep dive at 320 meters below the surface, and that was the deepest dive anyone had ever attempted. And they were going to do some construction work underwater, and they had so many issues with their diving suits and the pressure under the surface. So actually one of the divers died, and another one was severely injured, and the third one barely escaped with his life. And yet they just the government didn't admit that it was their fault, that there were a lot of things that were kind of dodgy before they'd started the dive. So it's actually quite terrible, but this is why it fascinates me so much, because these divers haven't received the recognition for their hard work, and they really suffered afterwards. A lot of them got diving sickness. So it was really, really interesting to like sort of make this drawing for them. for day 19 we have sunrise, and I really tried to make a beautiful background this time. I'm actually working on backgrounds for once, and I'm testing out a lot of techniques that I've seen on YouTube and trying to make it pretty. Using reference photos, of course, to sort of look at the colors and the sky and the ocean. And what I wanted for this painting was a mermaid who's sort of found a very secluded, beautiful beach where she can just sit quietly and meditate and watch the sunrise. I'm about to say sunset every time, but yeah, she's watching the sunrise. I had a lot of success using the blur tool on the previous drawing, where I wanted the diver to be in focus, not the equipment and the structure, so I made that blurry, and so the diver really stands out. And for this painting I also used the blur tool, but this time it kind of works as a way to imitate a camera lens, because then it looks like you've just taken sort of a portrait photo where the mermaid is in focus. And it also hides all my sins. It also hides all my stuff in the background that doesn't quite work out. You can just add a blur to it and it looks great. Pro tip. And for the next day, the prompt was music for a sushi restaurant, which is such a fun video. I really enjoy that. And I tried to take screenshots from the music video and see if I could sort of paint something inspired by that. I ended up taking so many pictures and none of it worked. I tried 2-3 different paintings and I just couldn't for the life of me get it to work. So I ended up doing an animation instead, of course, because I'm crazy and I didn't have a character design for this, so this poor guy is terribly off model, but I think it works out fine. I ended up having very little time in this. I think it turned out quite fun.
Can I touch your tail?
And for the last day of the week, Sunday, my computer kept crashing, so I ended up doing a watercolor, and the prompt was body positive. I think it turned out great. But that's it for this week, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. This video was a bit delayed because obviously I forgot my iPad, but I'll see you soon.